us get to the second issue that we have today, and it is issue of unemployment. More than 60% of youths are unemployed, and more than 75% of the total population is youth. What are we going to do to these people? How are we going to have them employed? And what should be done, Mr. Korin?
The issue of unemployment, first of all, I want to agree that the problem of unemployment in Kenya is a very prominent problem. That almost in every household in this country, that problem is there. In every household in this country, you will find that there is somebody who has finished high school, they don't have a job. You will find that there is somebody who has just cleared college, they don't have a job. The most unfortunate thing is how is the government or how are the leaders addressing this problem of unemployment. One of the most desperate approaches that the government has come up with, for example, is the Kazi kwa Vijana program. While the program comes out and tries to attempt to solve out the problem of unemployment, but at the same time, for me, I'm seeing that it is not really working, because how the kind of jobs that the Kazi kwa Vijana program is offering, for example, sweeping the streets, digging trenches, doing some very casual and manual work. But you find that most of these people you are talking about who are unemployed, they may not necessarily all of them be people who do not have skills, be people who do not have papers. They are people with papers. So for me it beats logic to take somebody who is a graduate of engineering, or who is a graduate of agriculture, or who is a graduate somewhere, to go and sweep the streets, to go and dig the trenches. For me it is a waste of human resource. This country has spent a lot of money on these same persons who are calling the unemployed, for them to be where they are, for them to be able to get those degrees. The country has spent on them a lot of money, and they are vital human resources that are supposed to be tapped appropriately, not to be sent to go and sweep the streets, to go and dig the trenches. The Kazi kwa Vijana program must be restructured, so that if it is a question of people who have gone to school, people who have papers, you take them to the appropriate tasks. If it is those guys who are unskilled, we agree they should take the trenches, but you should not lump everybody wholesomely to go and take the trenches. Another thing, the government must, for example, the Ministry of Labor. What is the work of Ministry of Labor? The Ministry of Labor does not even understand how many people do not have jobs, how many people are qualified for this, how many people are going to come from college next year. There is no proper database established by the Ministry of Labor, so that we can be able to understand, for example, when I, for example, Mr. Korin, get out of college, or I'm out of college, where should I go and register and establish to the government that I have come out of college, I do not have a job, and I really need a job? So the government must be serious and approach this question with a greater seriousness, rather than just coming up with impromptu programs which may not be sustainable and may not be successful at all.
Thank you, Mr. Colin. That has not done enough. What's your take on this, the issue of unemployment?
My take, on the issue of unemployment, I think it's a good system. I've never agreed on the system that is being used in this country in terms of education. And when you're creating unemployment, you should also talk about security in this country. When you're talking about the security of this country, you should just identify who are the lawbreakers of this country.
The lawmakers.
Lawbreakers.
Yeah, the lawbreakers.
Yeah, the lawbreakers of this country.
Yeah.
Who are they? Yeah, and the reason why are they creating that happen. So when you talk about, let's look at the country like China.
Yeah.
Why are they not crying about it?
And yet they are the majority.
And yet they are the majority, 1.5 billion population. Why German? People are not crying about unemployment. The majority. Why is it that only in Kenya, as we're talking, there is 60% are unemployed? To my view, the system of education is so bad. Go to school, +1 to +8. Go to school from 1 to from 4. That one does not solve anything. Me going to school to know, just to know to speak English, that's not good. English can be acquired everywhere. Yeah? Anybody can speak English. That's not something to, to put all the concentration. So let's have the skills that, okay, I would appreciate if the government can create an institution whereby every person goes to school and come up with skills. Everybody has to have that skill, yeah, so that when everybody come out that the school, you must be having something to do at least, yeah. At least you must be having something to do, so that you don't try all government. So, in short, the government is taking too much concentration on empowering, taking people to school, relevant education. Yeah. But it doesn't look at the system of education that we people are going through. Yeah. That is keeping us to come and sit here. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. The education system. What's your take on this?
The issue of unemployment in this country, in my own view, has been a time. Actually, the government has sat on the back of their tables, not doing anything. Because in terms, if we may profile how unemployment has built up, it has been over the last 15 years or 20 years. And my take on it is that there has been one. The government has been unable to make sure that the country has a sustainable source of employment for its citizens. They have neglected, they have underrated the population growth. And in that matter, they have not been able to put strategic plans to be able to plan ahead. Why I'm saying that is because when you look at industrial area, when you walk around our industrial area here in Nairobi, I think every other town, you'll find most of the buildings there, they are empty. There are godowns which are just empty. You can even get a spacious place to just put your documents, all documents. And those were former godowns where our industries were producing goods and were being stored there. The youth were being employed. Even if you did not have skills, you could get a job maybe to stack boxes of maybe tires for bicycles. Haven't they closed business here? Why? We should ask ourselves, because there's been a systematic move, maybe by the government, maybe intentionally or without knowing, to kill industries by allowing imports. When you look at everything, we are importing maybe from China. China, I hear they had a strategic plan. By 2015, every household in the world will be using their products. And actually, when you look at in the country right now, every house, and I know my colleagues will bear witness, we are using products from China. We should have had that strategic plan to make sure that we strengthen our industries, we strengthen our main backbone of the economy, the agriculture. Because when you look at our coffee here in Kiambu, we are seeing people are putting coffee to put up houses. Why? It's because the government has not taken keen interest in strengthening our key sectors so that they can produce employment. When you look at the education system, as my friend has said, we are not being produced. I mean, the education system does not produce people who can rely on themselves in terms of skills. We are getting academic qualifications, and when we come out, we find they are very relevant in a real life situation. You just know how to calculate an equation, you know how to speak English, you can write a very nice essay, but that is not really relevant to our situation as a country. And therefore, I feel that there should be a very quick measure the government should come up with a strategic plan to make this, to revive our key sectors, like the agriculture, so that we can put this country to track. Otherwise, this will soon be out of control, and the government might not really bear the repercussions of unemployment in this country.
Thank you very much. Let us now hear from Mr. Kopud. What is your take on this? Many are blaming the education system. What's your take on this?
My take on this is the government and the system that we are in. We have good policies that when implemented can create space for the young people, those people who are jobless, those people who are coming out of colleges, to get spaces where they can start working, engaging themselves and the experience and all that they have learned. When I'm talking of poor policies, there are people who are in the system that are not interested in implementation of the policies. When they are there as our leaders, they are doing their own business. They have been involved in cartels that are causing the nation not to prosper. They are not looking into the interest of the people of this nation, the young generation, the breed that are coming up out of our colleges. What can be done? As for now, it's like a time bomb, because our nation, our country is suffering. I can urge our young people who are jobless to arise and see to it that what we need now to salvage the situation is a revolution. Because we need to stand and to know that what has happened is a big problem that can only be solved when the young people who are jobless can realize that what we are going through can be solved by ourselves. It will not be solved by the politicians and by those people who are there with policies that they cannot implement. It is upon the young people who are jobless to arise and come together and see to it that these few people who are managing the resources of our nations, they are just looting and reaping from our resources, and they are just protecting their wealth. And it is upon us now, the young people, the people who are jobless, to say that the system is bad. We have policies that cannot be implemented by these people. Let us come up, join our hand and call a revolution that will bring this system down, and we will start afresh to save our nation. Thank you.
Just to add on that, when you look at the way the government has run the affairs of this country, is that most of the key sectors in this country have been privatized. There's no way you will give agriculture to private people. Those are purely business people. They have the interests of this country. They do not have the interests of this country at heart. And if you look at, for example, production of sugar, we are told that each year we must import sugar to cater for the consumption of this country, because the local production cannot feed the population. And then we are aware that our western part of the country can produce more than enough sugar to feed this country and even the Comesa region. Therefore, it's important that the government, and I think the government which comes 2012, must take over all key areas which have been privatized and make them public, pump resources there and revitalize them to be able to produce, chances for the people who are, for the youth of this country to work in those areas. When you look at, for example, another area is like transport. Transport has been privatized. We have a few people controlling the whole area, the whole sector of transport. Our railway line has collapsed because so much has been privatized. Everybody is taking their own interests at heart, only a few people are enriching themselves at the expense of the whole country. That cannot be allowed.
This is where everybody voices it as he or she sees it. The voiceless got a voice. The voiceless got a voice. The voiceless got a voice.
My name is Samuel. Women have got that power to lead, or rather, women have been too much blocked or not supported in any leadership because of our cultural barriers. This culture doesn't support women leadership, but they have that capability as women. So we need to give them ability to lead us. Because we have that equality that this is needed, so that we may forget about the cultural, but respect matters, because respect is a general issue that in companies, men and women. So respect is everything. So the leadership it's good to be equal.
About employment,
unemployment, government should look upon it and not favor the people who have the ability, because also the unemployment people, they have the capacity also. Even if most of the unemployed are their youth and most of them are educated, they have that potential, but the potential is not supported by the government. So the government must know how to support this.
Okay, thank you.